The last time I was with you was in December in Phoenix. About a week after that, my pet bird, who I was very close with, of 30 years, had his croaking experience. It was very painful, as a pet owner. I had this brief period of wailing, and I'm a big softie. I was very upset. But the next day, I was laying in bed, and this vision kind of flashed before me where I saw Abraham. I saw Esther, but I totally understand Abraham and Esther are not the same person. And it was like Abraham had my bird on her arm and was gesturing as if to say, well, your bird looks pretty good to us. And instantly my energy sort of shifted, and I just had a strong knowing that my bird was back in non-physical and was doing just fine. My question is, since then, throughout the day, periodically, I will think of my bird and sort of connect with him energetically, it feels like. But I've heard many people say that when a loved one has moved on, that it's not good to spend a lot of time thinking about them because you may draw them to you and kind of interfere with them in their life on the other side, and they're trying to move on. And I just
You've never heard that from us.
No, I haven't.
That's because it isn't true.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Basically, I wanted permission from you that it was okay for me to play with my bird.
Well, the most significant thing that we want to say to you is you require no permission from us about anything.
Right.
Or from anyone. But there are several things that this is nice to chew on. The difference between your beloved bird and your beloved human friends is that the energetic difference between your bird in physical form and your bird in non-physical form is nearly indistinguishable, because the beasts of your planet are, for the most part, unless there's something extreme going on, they are in that pure place of non-resisted thought. So they represent themselves as the whole of who they are. That's why they don't hold grudges, and they don't get their feelings hurt, and they don't depend upon your continual appreciation of them. Now, you may think they do. You think that when you leave the house that they lie in mourning and wait for your return. But they don't. They're always glad to see you, but they are not dependent upon you in the way that you often are dependent upon one another. We really enjoy having this conversation with you because for many, the bird should be less significant to you than a human partner. But we don't look at it that way at all, because as you have experiences together, you are uniquely what you are because of your relationship with the other. And so, of course, you would feel that loss until you remember that there is no death. Now, that's an interesting thing, because you associate with those who are physically focused with you through your unique interpretation of energy, of sight and sound and taste and touch and feeling and so forth. You have these fuller experiences in physical, and it's the reason that you're here in this time and space. You knew that manifestations would be richer and fuller. The physical is a fuller, more expanded, more evolved experience of creation. We talk with you often about turning thoughts to things, and yet there are a lot of people that want to make the things part of your physicalness secular and worldly, while they want to make the energy and the non-physical spiritual. And we want you to understand that it must be blended together, and that here in this physical form, you are extensions of that source energy, all of you. And so as you acknowledge that you're extensions of source energy, and you lean less on your interpretation through your physical senses, and you understand the wholeness of who you are, then as you have that experience with your bird, no longer in physical form, but still active energetically and still aware, it's a nice bridge. It's a nice understanding that humans have the non-physical very confused. You think that you're non-physical and then you're physical, and many people think that that's it. And what we would like you to realize is that you are this non-physical energy having many different experiences, just like you are this physical human having many different experiences. You've sort of stepped into a different realm when you stepped on board this vessel. The vessel has transported you to magnificent places that are different than what you usually move around in. And so you understand that there are different perspectives here in this physical world. And the whole of you, that non-physical part of you, is experiencing that constant, continual renewal and experience. Mostly what we want you to get from what you've lived and from this conversation that we're having together is that you are a continuing consciousness who has experiences that bring you further and further understandings of who you are. And so it's nice to know that as you tap in to that non-physical energy, you can gain a sense of your true non-physical roots, and you can reclaim that sense of stability. But that is only a little bit of the story that we want you to remember about yourselves, because while you are non-physical energy having come forth into this physical body, it's not about remembering that. It's about combining with that and blending with that and then moving forward into the new. You being a valuable part of the evolution of the whole of you, your human physical personality, being a valuable part of the whole of who you really are. So it's not about catching up with who you are as non-physical being. It's you, moment by moment, a piece of time here and a little glimpse here, allowing yourself full recognition of who is actually forward with you in this physical time and space. And we would like you to accept that you are that non-physical you, but mostly your human personality doesn't let you realize it. And when the human personality that is you doesn't let yourself realize that you are this continuing consciousness having boarded another vessel called this time on planet Earth, or this me, this personality, that when you realize that you are this non-physical consciousness flowing to you and through you and living this life experience, then you get a greater sense of not only the reason for your beingness, not only the value of your beingness. You are leading edge. You are out on the leading edge. You are exposed to the variety that makes you ask anew. The evolutionary sequence is primary with you. So when you begin to consciously acknowledge the importance of you here now, not just you here now, but all of us here now, and you accept the rightness of it, the perfection of it, meaning the perfect balance of it, and then you begin to embrace the contrast as all part of that evolution, not a test, not something that you could succeed at or fail at, but something that you can only succeed at. But while you're succeeding at it, you can be enjoying it or not. Those are the choices. You cannot cease to be an extension of source energy. You cannot cease to be leading edge co-creators. You cannot cease to be perceivers of contrast and therefore launchers of rockets of desire and therefore leading edge creators unto all of the universe. You cannot cease to be the worthy being that you are, and you cannot cease to be blended and connected with this non-physical energy. You can't cease to contribute in magnificent ways. You cannot be unworthy. All of this is just the way that it is, but you can pinch yourself off from knowing your value. You can pinch yourself off from the love that is you. You can pinch yourself off from the value of this adventure. And the value of this adventure, the success that you're looking for, is that delicious success that is most represented by the joy in your heart, the lightheartedness that you feel, the recognition of your value, your recognition of the value that you see in the others around you. And so we like that your bird is eternal with you. And we like that you had this partnership that often caused you connection to source energy. And we know for sure that the discomfort that you felt in the temporary belief that your bird is now gone, the discomfort that you had was only the discomfort of your touchstone to your connection was not as easy for you to access, and what you were missing in those painful moments was your connection to the whole of that which you are. And so we like it when you represent those things to each other. We really like it when someone who's all tuned in, tapped in, turned on, holds you in their gaze and for a moment gives you what your bird gave you, which was a sort of sense of well-being. We like that when you do that for each other. But you run the risk when you develop dependencies upon one another. It hinders your relationships because then you ask things of them that are not theirs to give. When you ask someone to always love you no matter what, you're asking them to do something that they were not born to do and that is not really theirs to give. It is each of your inner beings to give, and your inner being is always there steady to give it to you. And so we like it that your bird represented a physical presence, and we like it that your bird now represents a non-physical presence. We like it that you are all coming closer to realizing the whole of who you are. And we know to many a conversation like this just seems weird. Abraham, we came here to learn how to make more money and how to create big estates and how to make a difference in this world. And we say, yes, 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 you did all of that, but you are source energy doing it, and you're already worthy, so stop struggling to prove that worthiness. And you're already powerful, so stop feeling weak while you look for some elusive power somewhere else. Try just a little bit to accept the bigness that is you, the wholeness that is you, and stand in your power as you move forward in this life experience, and watch the bird-like benefit that you give to those around you. That steady beingness. That's the thing about that bird that we love more than all other things put together. It was consistently in connection with source energy, and you could not look at that bird or be with that bird or now even think about that bird without touching into the consistency of the well-being, the stability of eternity, the stability of eternity. You watch television and it freaks you out because it lies to you about your stability. There are so many who want to freak you out, to make you afraid, so that you will run to them for cover and shelter. And we say, anytime you go anywhere other than to your true core and your true knowing, then you are in that sort of frightened place. We like this conversation.
Thank you.
Enough?
Yep.